Welcome to my show because we're rolling right now. So, so how have you been since you and I last spoke? And we got to talk about how the world has changed since since you and I first spoke. My God,
just that little topic, huh?
yeah, no kidding. But I read in your bio, and obviously you and I are kind of in the same space with investing, and you're dealing with some syndicators, I'm sure, some GPs. You're probably in some of those deals. I don't know if you're in as a GP or what have you, but how's the world treating you right now?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
It's actually never been better.
good for you.
Yeah. So I don't put together any of my own deals. I really work with people just on the strategic level, and then we do all of like the strategic planning and building for asset protection structures, anonymity, the estate planning. How do
Okay.
you run like the CFO and CPA stuff you need for all of your tax planning and your financials, and then how do you do that with your portfolio like analysis, and how do you
Nice.
get all these pieces to work together? And I leave it to like other people to put together the investment deals, and then my principal role now is to educate people about like how do all the puzzle pieces work, and we do that through like podcasting, and then through like trainings that we have for free on the website, and then also just vetting who are good operators, right? Because that seems to be the biggest delta for people to move is that they actually don't know how to vet well. They don't know how to vet the deals in the right way, and they don't know how to vet the operators in the right way to move from a asset that performs at 10% to an asset that performs at 30%.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
is. Oh my gosh, I was on that. And first off, everybody, just you heard Scott mention his website. It's royallegalsolutions.com. It'll be in the notes below, but I just want to get that on there. But Scott, you mentioned this about vetting. I was on Cornelius Cannon's shark pool, and I was the mean shark because I looked at some of these deals and I thought they were the stupidest things in the world. And there was no possible way these people could ever make the dough that they thought they were going to make. What types of things do you look for? First off, from a deal specific, the property specific standpoint, and then what do you look for in the sponsorship group?
So the first thing I actually want to know is what kind of deal do I actually need? Right. So that actually means me really understanding what is my tax strategy, my total tax liability.
Okay, you're talking about as if you're the investor coming in, the person putting money into somebody's deal.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Was your question different? Sorry.
No. I just want to I wasn't sure when the way you framed your answer, who we were talking about, but I just want to get clarification.
Yeah. So I'm always, for the purpose of this, unless we clarify otherwise, I'm always going to be speaking from my mentality as an investor. And then here's how I coach investors how to think through how do you build wealth as fast as possible.
Good.
So what I see is my number one investment that I can make is always tax savings. Like tax savings, and having prioritized tax savings is my biggest delta outside of getting into the right deal. So deals that I control myself, like single family homes, typically will perform for me at like 10 to 12%. Syndications inside of things like self-storage units that have bonus depreciation, good IRRs, good pref rates, those typically get me around 30%. But if I really can get something that has like really strong bonus depreciation, like that 180%, bonus depreciation with it, now those tax savings will get me an investment that'll turn for me 50%, because the tax savings plus the return on the investment is how I'm getting 50% returns inside of really boring stuff like self-storage units. And that's what I look for. I look for people that are using super boring, super dependable assets, but operators that have been typically running for a really good amount of time. Like I really like 10 years. I want to see like a couple of down cycles if I can, because those are people that tell me that says, you might not always be promising me the absolute best return, but I have a really good indication here that you're hedging risks around like what will happen if interest rates rise. Because what I really want is really boring, dependable returns on the deal itself, which I can know from the operator. And then I want it to be a super boring asset because super boring assets perform predictably. Because to me, wealth is all about predictable winning, instead of trying to think that I'm going to win by choosing the right asset, and that the the way that predictable winning turns for you the best possible returns is it's consistent, but they win on marketing. So it's being able to find deals that other people can't find is where these guys are actually making all of the spread. It's not actually made because they're doing something with the asset that's so creative or that the deal structure is so creative. It's because they actually have a strong marketing engine that says their own personal deal flow with what they're vetting is where they get the juice. And that's different than how most people think about investing, because most people think about investing as, oh, it's I need a higher risk for this type of asset, like am I going to invest in crypto or something like that, right? That, hey, it's this kind of huge risk that I'm pushing into like this kind of uncertain asset class. And it doesn't have to be like that. You can actually use dependable operators, really boring assets, and just find people that really understand the business better by having really strong marketing wings. And then that's how you can get 50% returns from cash, from tax savings and investments from really boring stuff like self-storage units.
You talk about one thing that I think most of these sponsors and some of these sometimes the neophyte sponsors and people get all wrapped up in the I'm going to get this 9% preferred return or what have you. And they're totally missing out on the biggest benefit, which are the tax savings. And they've designed the structure of the GP so that they're not taking advantage of any of the depreciation, or they're coming in, 1031 exchanges. Forget about it; it's never going to happen. And that's where you look at Warren Buffett. He talks about he invests for the long haul. He's not there for the small hits, the 9% returns. He says keep the money in the company, because we can do so much better with your money than you can. And as opposed to these typical standard 9% preferred return, blah, blah, blah. These people getting their annual distribution taxed. And then when they go to sell, any profit is taxed. They don't take advantage of any of the tax savings that the government has given the real estate investors to take advantage of. And it's really, it shows their lack of experience.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest delta I see, right? Is it's how savvy are you, right? I mean, all we have to do really is just be able to look at who has what we want in life, and then just copy exactly what they tell us to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I did for over 12 years. I mean, I still do that now with entrepreneurs that are part of like men's groups and investor groups that I belong to. And I spend maybe like $200,000 a year on being part of groups that I can go to like learn and sitting around in little conference rooms. And honestly, I learn the most like sitting in hot tubs, like being able to ask people questions.
Hey, listen, this is a family friendly show, Scott. Don't even give us that vision, for crying out loud. Come on, man. Unbelievable.
I've been hitting the gym recently. It's not as bad as you think.
Good for you. I was there too, but I still wouldn't get in a hot tub with you. That's for sure. So
it's wild how that all works, man. But it's really about like the savviness of it. There's a reason why, most businesses fail. And it's usually because whoever the entrepreneur is doesn't really understand how all the components and the strategic components of the business work. Most people think that wealth is like a silo. I view as wealth as a business. You're actually a CEO of your own wealth building company that has legal, tax, has CFO kind of components that are associated with it, has deal flow or product that you're working with. And the reason why wealth feels so daunting to people is because they've actually never run a company, and they don't actually understand they're actually trying to run a company. They're just kind of bumbling their way through it.
And I got to tell you, I wish I had the book around. I just moved my office. I had the book. Oh gosh, it's all about sales and marketing. And basically, the second chapter, the guy says 90% of all business is sales and marketing. And I listened to that guy say that, and I think to myself, I see so many of these people try to get into the multifamily space, and they don't realize that it's all about sales and marketing. And if you're not out there selling and marketing yourself, you're never even going to get your first deal. And that's what I see a lot of these entrepreneurs. They think they're going to jump into the real estate business, and all this money will flow to them, and they don't realize they have to get out there and promote themselves, or they're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got to have the sales and marketing, and you also have to know what the heck is it that you really want. Like the biggest piece that I found that people run into is that they're trying to say, well, I really want everything and I want it all at the same time, which means that they're actually not very strategic, because the truth is you're actually not able to do very much.
Yeah.
So you actually need to be really conscientious about what is the exact thing I need to be doing. And that's really what leads, I think, to like entrepreneurs that I coach and growing businesses, like 7-figure businesses that are trying to grow to 8-figure businesses, or people that I coach. And also with investors. It says, like, if you don't know the answer to this one question, you don't know the answer to this one question, then you're lost. And the question is, what is the exact deal that you need next? Does it need, how much tax savings do you need from it? How much net worth are you trying to get from it? How much cash flow are you trying to get from it? How much capital are you trying to push? If you don't know the answer to that question of what's the exact deal that you're looking for, you're just wandering around in the woods, hoping you're going to stumble across something and say, that feels good. I mean, what could be more insane if you went to a business, and any business, they're like, no, we know exactly. We need this many meetings set. We need to convert this many meetings into sales. We need to convert for an average price for this. There's a reason that businesses are that exact. But as investors, a lot of times we're just like, well, I'm just looking for a deal. I was like, well, that's just only going to lead you to failure.
Yeah. I've been reading this book, which is Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, Dr. Benjamin Hardy. What, do you have it right there too? No. Okay.
Yeah, no, I ended up talking to Dan about that, but it's great. Yeah.
No, but this book is, it's not about doing the same things 10 times more to get to 10x. It's doing that one thing and maximizing that one thing and knowing what that one thing is that'll get you to that 10x of your business. And yeah, if you don't know what it is, then you're just spreading, spinning your wheels.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what I found. That's actually why I built my company the way that I built it, is because I actually built it for me, because it was as I was going through, like, I bought my first property when I was in law school, and then flipped that property to graduate from law school without debt, grew into my own real estate portfolio with single family homes, left my law job. Then as I was like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and spending months in the Amazon and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, I was like, well, I actually need a team of people to run like what's going to be happening with all of my entity compliance, and what's going to happen with like any updates I need to like my estate planning things as things change with my family, and okay, what's going to happen with all of my like tax strategy, and what kind of deal do I need to be looking for next, because I'm running out of depreciation, so I need to like sell those assets and get into the next one. But how am I, what kind of deal, how am I going to do that? So I actually built Royal Legal Solutions selfishly. It was just so I could keep playing. And then what happened is that other people were like, hey, can you help me do what you're doing? And then that's kind of where we spawned into a company of 2,000 clients over the last 12 years is doing that, because it's about that. How do you get down to as few things you actually have to think about as an individual to know what are the core 1 to 3 things that I focus on that grows the areas of my life? Because if you don't have it down to 1 to 3, you're pretty much guaranteed to saying you're actually doing nothing important. Yeah. You're just kind of doing everything halfway, and you need a team to be able to help leverage through.
All right. So who are some of the clients? So like what does a client for Royal Legal Solutions do? Like what do you take care of for them?
Yeah. So what we endeavor to do is actually to make people the CEO of their own wealth building company that's built and managed for them. Right. So what we want to do is come in with inside of 6 weeks to be able to say, great, here's your full structure. Here's all the tax reporting, financial reporting, portfolio reporting that you need. Here's the meeting structure that you need with the ongoing team. So that way you can manage and essentially have all of like the systems and the processes built up that you can actually manage all of your wealth, have it perform better for tax and investing. And you only have to check in on meetings once every 3 months to say, cool, what are my reports that I need to look at? Who are the team members that I'm supposed to meet with to discuss these reports? Okay, how is this running? And that's what that's the best I've been able to do about saying, like, how do you get things to perform better, be it best practices from like a Western business kind of perspective, while being able to free time for us to go like enjoy life as much as we can.
Okay, very cool. So, and on your website, you talk about the downloads that you have and the free giveaways that can help people understand that and see what the plan might look like.
Yeah, so like we have the homepage video. Charles actually walks everybody through, like, here's actually what you need to do to build a wealth building company. Here's all like the divisions that you need, the kinds of team members that you need if you're going to do this at the high level. How do you even select what those right team members are? And that way everybody's like, cool, now you understand what it takes to build a wealth building company that you're actually going to need to go do. You either can go figure it out on your own with our insights that we just gave you from the video, or if you want to talk to us about how we can help you in that journey, then you can schedule a meeting to talk to a paralegal and say, hey, are you qualified for somebody that we can hit a home run for? Because we only take on 10 new clients a month. So we're a small firm. So we only going to take on like a few people that we can make sure that we're going to knock it out of the park for. And then I also have on the website too, something we call the vault. It's up in the right-hand corner. You can get into there, and that's where I have like 11 ebooks, a couple hundred hours of videos. It's actually where we store all of the training materials that we use to train any new staff members. So we open up that to free to anybody to say, if you really want to dive into the nerding of the nerds, like that's where you get to go get the deep training into how any of these areas work. So it's up to anybody what they want to do. You can either hire somebody like us to say, cool, we'll build everything for you inside 6 weeks. And all you got to do is attend a meeting once every 3 months. And we'll show you everything you need to know about what it takes to do this and have all the team members that are right. Everything's already pre-built for you. Or you can jump behind the scenes and spend, probably 300 to 400 hours trying to study it on your own. You'll learn everything from the ground up. And then from there, you'll know enough to be able to select the right team members, build your own systems and processes, your own meeting schedules, your own reporting structures, and figure it on your own. But that's what it really takes. If you really want to be free, you really want big wealth, you got to be either willing to invest time or you got to be willing to invest money.
Yeah. Okay. I got to ask you this. You're going to break a tie here because you know what they say. The joke is, what do you have when you have 2 lawyers in a room? three opinions. Okay. So here's the thing. I had another guy on my podcast a while back. You might know who he is, but he came out and said that he does not like series LLCs and does not recommend them. He wants separate LLCs for everything. And I was thinking, okay, well, that's kind of interesting because I really haven't needed them, but that's I have not heard that said before, that series LLCs are not the way to go. How do you feel about series LLCs?
Well, whether you want a series LLC, individual LLCs, Delaware Statutory Trust, Wyoming Statutory Trust, offshore trusts, and Nevis, limited partnerships, all of them actually have the right place. And it depends upon the asset class, where the person's domiciled, and where the assets are domiciled. So there's not really a best fit thing to say like, oh, it's this thing is the crown jewel. It actually depends upon a number of different factors that have to do with taxes, the type of protection that's needed, what the ongoing costs are going to be, and those types of questions, right? So series LLCs really only have a place that I find that's really like that appropriate is inside of single family homeowners. Why?
Okay.
Because single family homes are the area in which you get traditional financing. You transfer it to be a land trust into the series LLC, and that way you can use traditional financing, which is going to be a little bit cheaper, and you don't have huge ongoing costs. There's an argument that says, well, are series LLCs as safe as LLCs, right? We know they can be used everywhere because of full faith and credit clause of the U.S. Constitution. So that's
right,
great.
exactly.
LLCs everywhere.
Yeah.
The question says, well, have they really been tested? I can tell you our firm runs into about 1 lawsuit a month with them. We've never had anybody be able to blow it up for any reason. They're still just as vulnerable as individual LLCs. Same attacks apply to a series LLC. But for people that are there, I'm like, listen, your margins are so compressed as a single family home investor that you actually need to be thinking about like, what's the most cost effective way for the best protection I can get there? Because until you're willing to shift to syndications and into more sophisticated levels of investing, you need to keep costs low. Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to get all of your profits eaten up by the compliance of your corporate legal structure, which is stupid. You can't afford to do that. You got to shift. So that's probably the longest answer possible to series.
No, actually, you had it nailed at in the very first sentence when you said it depends. I knew I was talking to a lawyer right then and there. So yeah, I mean, what am I, stupid? Of course, I knew that was going to be your answer.
I tried to dig 2 or 3 layers deeper than that, so I hope I didn't lose the entire audience.
No,
what a nerd.
We're still here. We're still here. Hey, let's talk. Before we say goodnight, Alice. Talk to me about the economy. What are you seeing? How are your investors faring? Do you have some people in in floating rate interest rate deals, or what are you seeing?
Well, the people that are really getting popped are what were like new syndicators that didn't have safety levers put in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they got hit with interest rates that were rising really fast, and now like a lot of those deals are like getting blown up, you know.
Yeah.
That's not really our typical client. Like we're not an SEC firm, right? We're
Right.
typically like a wealth building. I'd say that considers like a holistic like family office or fractional family office or a holistic wealth building company. My investors though I call them, my clients. They don't like, I don't structure deals. Nobody pays me to promote any typical deals or anything like that. But the clients I work with, they're actually doing, they're actually doing great, because the stuff that we worked with them on and looking at a lot of the strategic advice for things was with, really boring stuff that's recession resistant. We made sure that it was, we're going to have like a lot of safeguards put in, and it's, super boring stuff. Like we're investing into funds that already have producing wells so we can get tax advantage stuff to help people with W-2s, or we're looking self-storage units that's in New England. It's just the most boring stuff in the world. And they're doing really fine. The people that are really getting hurt are the your retail real estate investor who's like, I'm used to being able to buy deals off of MLS, and off of those kind of sheets. And then they're saying like, gosh, shoot, do I have to go start a sales and marketing wing to be able to generate deal flow to find off market deals? And I'm like, holy smokes, you ever done that before? Like it ain't like as easy as you might think. But unless you have a really good teacher. If you have a really good teacher, anything's possible. And I'd say, all things considered, you should just go do that. But yeah, so the majority of the people that I'm working with right now are they've just transitioned. They've transitioned from saying, I'm going to go find deals, to I'm going to work with other people and professional teams that are going to help me get to the next level, so I don't have to do the scary thing of trying to jump there all by myself.
Yeah, very cool. Scott, for those people listening, wondering if Scott's got the experience to help you out, all you have to do is go to his website, royallegalsolutions.com, and look at his picture, and then come back to this podcast and see the difference in age between the two pictures. That tells you how long this guy's been in the business. He's like I am. He hasn't updated his promo picture in years, for crying out loud. I go back and I look at my old videos, Scott. I'm like, who the hell is that guy? Nobody would recognize me now. So, but his name is Scott Royal Smith. They call you Roy. I had a buddy named Royal. That
was in high school. All of high school, I was Royal. Yeah, that's everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was it, because there was like so many Scotts.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
cool. Yeah. So it's royallegalsolutions.com. Check him out. He's how much would you say you're practicing now of your revenue? It's got to be a small fraction, right? You're doing the stuff you're doing. Some of it isn't even practicing law, right?
I mean, I don't even know how to really describe what it is exactly that I do anymore. It's really, my principal revenue sources, some of it comes from, Royal Legal Solutions. We do about like 4 million to 5 million a year in business, right? So we're still a pretty small firm with the team, smaller team size. And then the majority of everything else that I'm doing is just my own personal investing, and then helping vet the and the types of operators and types of deals that we need for clients to come in, and just doing that. So, I mean, I've just really been blessed with being able to make enough money from like a great business that then I could turn that money into making returns that are it's crazy to believe that you can make returns that are like in 25+% and be like, this is safer to me than anything else I've ever looked at before. Everybody else is like, that's not possible. And I'm like, it's actually so easy if you just. It
goes back to what you said at the beginning, just being smart and understanding how the game works. I mean, that's just how the big boys do it. They absolutely do it that way. So
I get it. I had to spend $250,000 every year for like the last like 7 years to sit with the right people to learn how to do it, to be like, this is actually how you do it. And it's actually way easier than you think.
That's so
not
cool.
everybody's there, but once you know, it's like anything in your life. Like once you know, you're like, I wish everybody would just do this, because if everybody do this, we'd all be living better lives faster and easier. And that's what I want for everybody that comes in and works inside of my circle. And that's why I give away all the education for free. So thank you for the opportunity to come on, Charles.
All right. Well, man, it's great to see you again. Glad to see you doing well. And we'll be back in touch in another 5 years just to find out where you were wrong.
Yeah, that's right. And see how much better looking I am 5 years from now.
Exactly. Yes. That's all I care about. All right, man. Great to see you, Scott. And we'll be talking soon. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, brother.
Talk to you.